Hey, everybody. Conscious Medium, Brandon Ross. Thanks so much for tuning in. Had to go to press with this. Had no plans on doing any videos today. As a matter of fact, I'm in the middle of my Chiron return, but this is kind of world-shattering news. I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about what's going on with Putin right now. I hope you stay tuned. I'm going to talk a little bit about that Trump video yesterday. You guys are absolutely correct and you're on your game. But before we go any further, I want to make sure that you click like and subscribe as this progresses. YouTube tells me a lot of you watch the channel, a lot of you tune in, but you don't always necessarily click like and subscribe. Share this one with your friends. This one is not going to disappoint, guys. This one is definitely going to be one of those that you're going to want to save. So a couple of things here. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Penny because of the mistake that I made yesterday. And she's just like, buddy, you got to get this shit together. Like, come on, you got a great video and you did the wrong chart. I will tell you in short why I ended up using the wrong chart yesterday with Trump. You guys were right in calling me out on it. Thank you. I love you to death. I will do another video for that when he gets indicted. I'm telling you, March 17th right now is a huge day for those that are being catapulted into the world to help it, and we are thwarting the bad guys. It is due partially because of this 29 aneretic degree with Pluto in Capricorn. It's not letting go easily, guys. It is a hard aspect. And good news, we move into Aquarius, and you're like, yay, Aquarius, only to move back into Pluto. We get about 5 or 6 weeks of this, and then we move back in for another full 8 months. Guys, this is one of those like doozy of a moment, but we've got to start honoring it, and we've got to start talking about it. What I'm actually talking about right now is Vladimir Putin. Today, Vladimir Putin was had a warrant issued for his arrest for war crimes. They have found things nothing short of a concentration camp in Ukraine. They also have another arrest warrant out for the person who was running this kind of genocide type separation type of thing. They are not saying that it's pure genocide. What they're saying is that it was torture and bear, which means that they were doing everything that you would think that war criminals or war criminals would do in people that are, say, prisoners of war would endure while they were doing it to the children and the women. Thank you very much, Russia. You can go kiss off, and I stand behind everything I've said. I'm not picking a side on this, but if you're going to hurt children and you're going to hurt innocent people, I'm going to side with the innocent people. Russia needs to be held accountable. More importantly, Putin needs to be held accountable. We're going to need your help, people of Russia. Now, a couple of things here that I want to say. I've double-checked my math. Thank you, Penny. We've actually worked behind the scenes. She had a day of travel. Not a good look for her. Love you, Penny. But when I shared this chart with her, our skin just jumped. Guys, Vladimir Putin has been backed into a corner. This is the corner that I talked about when the Ukraine war went. Remember when I talked about him needing to get a damn astrologer? This is the date he would have picked. March 17th is a big day for the people that are going to make it and the people that aren't. He has what is known as a classic T-square. What is going on is Mars is in opposition to Mars to the sun. Today is not a good day, and it is a direct T-square, everybody. What is a T-square in astrology? It is an oh shit tower moment. It is a moment that when you're, let's just say you're working with tarot cards, you pull out the tower card. Where is this going? Tower card. Because it's quick and sudden change. The sun is currently in his 5th house. I'll talk about Saturn here in a second, too. It's all kind of about, somewhat, Saturn in Pisces. But this is something that is just, it stops the presses, guys. Astrology is about dynamic tension. It's about conjunctions. It's about trine energy, sextile energy, square energy, opposition. It's meant to kind of move us along. This right here is a showstopper. Mars is currently in his 8th house. The Scorpio energy. Sex, death, taxes. Listen, if he was a kid with $100 in Tijuana, I'd say this is a pretty good night to catch an STD. He's not. He's a world leader that started a war. He has this square connected to the sun, right? He has a square to the current Mars in the sky. That's the outer rim. And then the inner wheel, which is his personal natal Mars. His Mars is in Sagittarius. Mars is currently in Gemini. What is Mars in Gemini? But it's one of the trickiest placements in astrology because it is so, you don't know what's going to happen. He's the meth addict that needs a hit. He's the drunk that's had a case of beer. He is the one that's like, I'm perfectly fine. It's all of you. It's Dog Day afternoon. I'm out of order. You're out of order. And the sun is creating this square energy to his essence of the people that he thinks he's partnered with and what he feels like he needs to be about. It is also squared with the house where other people's money and world economy sits. This man is ruining the world economy single-handedly with this war. Also makes him very unpredictable. It also makes him very unpredictable. What is he unpredictable about? In World War II, when Nazi Germany started to win the war, I mean, so goes the spoil, so goes the war. We just talk about saving everybody and going in and D-Day and all this other stuff. But we used a lot of nefarious tactics in order to get there. Germany was actually thinking they could get to St. Petersburg. They could get to Moscow. They could get to the flag, if you will. I just played Stratego with my son, so I couldn't help but think of this. And sometimes you have to sacrifice a soldier or two. Russian philosophy, when it comes to war, is scorched earth. That's why Vladimir Putin is so dangerous with this placement. Do not be surprised if he uses whatever arsenal he has on his own people to try and look like the victim and not leave anything behind. We've created more nuclear warheads in this earth than we'll ever use. But Vladimir Putin is willing to use it. And this right here is an oh shit moment. Mars in the 8th house gives him, in Gemini, gives him the absolute squirrely energy saying he's going to have the Tony Montana philosophy. He's going to get a big pile of Coke in his AK-47. He's going to say hello to my little friend. That's what this placement is, everybody. And by the way, the sun in the 5th house, that Leo energy, you're not going to take me alive. I'm not going to stand trial. Kiss my ass. He also has another slightly more milder aspect that I'm going to bring up here. And that is the double 29, the double anaric that's going on in the sky right now. By the way, you can feel personally, depending upon which houses they're in, could feel empowered by your beauty, by your sensuality, by your brazenness. You could also be held accountable by what you say and how you said it. Guess what? Venus has moved into and was at the anarech here, coming out of Aries into Taurus, has been in the square position now. And it moved from the 29 just short 15 hours ago, based on this chart. And it creates a square. Well, it is the 6th house. It is health, it is wellness, it is what have you, but it is also the people close to you that you might not necessarily trust. Pluto in Capricorn is in its anarech. We've talked about this a lot. This is where the emphasis, double down time. This is where your buddies say, hey, listen, we're leaving the casino and I got like 20 chips left. Guess what? I'm going to put them all in. It's double down time. It's a time where you can just say, let it ride. Here's the positive out of this. If he has people around him, Putin, that care enough to say, I see where this is going and I know what you're capable of. We love you. Don't do this. There's a chance. There's also the chance that he says, nobody's going to take me. Say hello to my little friend. Coincidentally, also with this, I didn't draw the line, But his Venus is in opposition of Venus, which means that his personal self-love that he oh so enjoys with Venus in his first house is kind of muted. Both are fixed energies. The fixed energy doesn't help. The fixed energy makes him very concrete. You're also looking into a time that, and we're not quite there yet, but the sun is going to hit his nadir. Now, what the sun nadir is basically your birthday minus plus 6 months. It's the exact opposite of what your birthday is. That is your nadir. That is also when you tend to run low on energy. It is also when you tend to run low on, you just don't want to deal, right? You just want to be blah. Well, his is going to come up in about another 3 weeks. And guess what? He's not going to give a shit anymore. He's going to quit. He's going to go home. He's going to be like, yeah, forget this. I'm out of here. It'll be right on the edge of the 5th house, moving into the 6th house, and I wouldn't want to be in the same room with him that day. That could be the timing in which he's cornered. That could be in the time in which he is brought to accountability. But when you look at this chart, the last thing I got to point out to this, and I'm keeping this short and sweet, I'm shutting it down. I got to do my own healing because you see Jupiter and Chiron in conjunction here. It's in his 5th house. It is also in conjunction to Mercury, which is in conjunction with Neptune. I should have circled all of them. But I really want to focus in on this personal healing journey. Makes him really face himself. In the sun, I mean, it's a wider conjunct, but it's there. It's within 10 degrees. Actually, it's quite not, but it's still in proximity, and it has influence because it's sitting here in the house. It is making him look at this. This also makes him very dangerous, guys. This makes him want to be the person that he wants to be. It makes him say, I'm going to be remembered by what I make the rules. I'm in charge here. You think you're in charge? No. I'm in charge. What happens with a person with this type of chart is sometimes the most insane behaviors you've ever seen. Because he doesn't have basis anymore. He can't pull on self-love anymore. He has to be adored. The world just said, we don't like you. He's taking it out on world markets. He's taking it out on being able to look at the world and saying, if I'm not in charge, if I'm not king of the world, you don't get a world. What's wrong with that picture? We've been trying to hold him accountable. And listen, this war has nefarious tentacles everywhere. Let's just be honest and look at it and say there's a lot of blame to go around. The U.S. involvement with Ukraine is nothing short of disgusting. And when I say that, I go back to things like Biden. I go back to things like Trump. I go back to things like Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Obama. I'm here to tell you there's been a lot of handshake deals that put us in this position that empowered this. Now, if this is an average Joe down at the bar in the saloon, guess what? He's going to get into a bar fight, talk about the Susie that he used to love. And if you can't have Susie, then nobody can have Susie. And it might have been a bad day. Let's just hope nobody was armed. But to a world leader who has responsibility for literally millions of people that could affect billions of people, that has access to a button, whatever that button is, there's a time to say everything is temporary. And there are times that astrologers literally start texting back and forth to each other and use the words, and I quote, "Oh, fucking shit." This is that chart. This is allowing us to look at, I'm going to bring the oh shit chart up again. The oh shit part of the chart of this. So you literally, and by the way, the only saving grace is that we don't have a fixed grand cross here, is that we don't have a mutable grand cross. Because a mutable grand cross, it's close, guys. We're really close. If the astrology of this moved ahead just a little bit more and the sun would come into a full square here, I would say women and Brandon first. That's what I'd be saying. And listen, you guys know I'm not a fearmonger. You guys know that that's not what. We're about to go through a change of global proportions with this chart because this man has too much clout. Like I said, if he was in a saloon down the road, it would be, hey, did you hear that time that old Vlad got banned from here? Everybody can have a bad day, right? First rule of astrology, right? But you can also have 100 good days. You have way more good days than bad days. Putin, however, is in a cycle of incredibly bad days. Now, here's what I feel is kind of coming out of this. This is a part why you tuned in and you stayed in this long. There's always a chance. There's always free will. There's always moments of turning it around, and there are moments of redemption. Putin doesn't realize how much power he has. He just realizes what he doesn't have. He's a child. Trump is a child. We've allowed people to be in control that don't have the skills and abilities, and their ambitions outweigh the betterment of the good. I've been preparing, and by the way, the thing I almost decided to put together, I'm like, no, I'm going to rest easy. I need a day for myself, right? But on Monday, I'm going to pull together what is actually going on with the world banking systems right now. This 29 Anarch is bone-chilling to banking. And by the way, I'm not fire and brimstone. I'm telling you, it's a very necessary change. I don't know what's going to happen to Putin, but I know we're going to change because of it. I don't know what's going to happen to Trump, but I know we're going to change because of it. I don't know what's going to happen with the global economy, but I know we're going to change because of what we're going through right now. By the way, I think Putin sees things in global banks starting to fall, and I think he's going to totally hit the panic button. He is going to hit the panic button, everybody. And by the way, don't be surprised if Uranus, sitting in his 7th house, becomes a very unlikely partner in all of this. Could it be the U.S.? Could he kind of come to the U.S. and say, listen, we're going to do a backdoor deal so I can save face? Is it going to be China? Is it going to be something like North Korea? Is it going to be India? Who, by the way, is beginning to demand respect, and rightfully so. They have population, money, and technology. We've got to come up with this. And again, as much as I'm sitting here saying, yeah, I'm not a fearmonger, I realize what I'm saying. I know what I've been talking about in this video. I'm here to tell you that Vladimir Putin, though, this is the day of reckoning I talked about 372 days ago. This is what I talked about with the Ukraine war. This is what I talked about, how he's headed down a path of self-destruction. Today is the button day. This T-square is brutally honest. He is about the money. And he is about, if he can't have the money, if he can't win, then nobody's going to win. Don't you guys get it? He doesn't care about the Russian people, but it's the Russian people that have to figure that out. Pull up his ugly mug here. And by the way, I reserve the right to call somebody ugly when they decide to take out half of the world. There's nothing that will appeal to him. There is nothing that we can change or shift. Russia has been a dying country for a long time, and I'm not saying that because I'm like, oh, because of Vladimir Putin. They don't have the population to replace what has passed. They have way more people in their 50s than they do in their 20s. Way more. Like statistically insane more. Russia as a country can't sustain their economy because of that. And by the way, not only is the population decreased, but so has their citizenship. It's a 1-2 punch. This is the reason why he's so much against what Yeltsin did and Glasnost. He was a sworn enemy of Gorbachev, and he's done everything he can do since 1999 to do that. By the way, our good friend Nostradamus talked about him. And I'm going to have that on Monday because Penny and I are going to talk about what's going on. We're going to do a Whiskey and Bagels on Monday. We usually push it into the middle of the week, but this is all hands on deck. I'm going to do some show prep here for that. But Nostradamus actually talked about how the Antichrist would come into power in 1999. I actually think that there's more than one, but I think that there have been things that have happened. And they're not just people, they're systems, they're products, they're mindsets, they're paradigms. A paradigm can be an antichrist because if it works against you in the greater good, then there it is. The world banking systems, Silicon Valley Bank notwithstanding, literally worked on such a greed metric that it's disgusting. Did you know that the CEO as well as other board members received gigantic bonuses as they declared bankruptcy and insolvency as the feds came in? They're literally grabbing money out of the vault that's not there for their depositors. And then we have everything is good, everything is fine out of the presidential pulpit because they know that it's the beginning of the wide-scale panic, right? George Bailey doesn't have the money to dole out anymore. But yet the Federal Reserves can keep printing money. So anybody else see a problem in that? Vladimir Putin doesn't. Vladimir Putin's not going to go down with the ship. He's going to make sure that he gets his. And if he can't have it, nobody can have it. It's in his chart. I'm going to give the heart taps. I'll get you on this one. We're going to give the heart tap to Vladimir Putin to tell him that we love and care for one another. I don't do this in fear. I do this in confidence. You need a hug, you need a handhold, you need a friend. I know you watch my channel. I know that you try and affect likes and subscribes. The only way to overcome that algorithm is by liking and subscribing. I know full well what you've been doing, and I don't care. My heart tap goes to Vladimir Putin, that he recognizes that his own power is caring for the people that have cared for him without reservation, not in fear. And I hope he sees himself through this. Back on Monday, Penny and I will do a special Whiskey and Bagels. She's back from holiday. I'll be back from Chiron return. This is a full-time gig. This is where I'm going with my career. You can always book readings with me. Penny. The people that are going to elevate are about to take off. The people that are in trouble will do everything to ruin it for everyone else. And that, my friends, is what this, not this, but rather this is all about. What are you freaking made of? Pluto, the planet of power, at the Anaric focus angle in Capricorn. What's your foundation? What are you made of? Thanks for tuning in here for the Stream of Consciousness. Thank you so much for being a part of things. Thank you for your corrections. I will do a make good over the weekend into early next week about Trump. Again, the indictments are going to be coming down. They're going to be stemming from this Friday. Again, even if it comes out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll be on Friday, March 17th. The decision was made. And it might take a few days to execute it, but it's coming down. All right, guys, keep going. I'm so glad you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Even share with your friends. And then also click on the bell so you'll be notified whenever new content comes up. And if you really want to support me, why don't you consider becoming a member? I have exclusive content on there, things like the extra sauce, as well as live events that are just for my YouTube members. I'll see you guys soon, and thanks so much for the support. Heart taps going out to everyone that supports me.